In this lesson, I'll show you how to make important decisions in life, taking into consideration two important aspects: rationality and emotions. Making decisions is very crucial because our life, as it is now, is the result of the decisions we have made so far. So, decisions define our reality. What happens sometimes is that people try not to make any decisions. Often the reason is that they love to stay in their comfort zone. However, in this way, you don't allow yourself to evolve, and, on the contrary, you force yourself to get stuck in the same situation. By taking away from ourselves the possibility of changing the current situation, we also cancel the possibility of improving our life. So, let's analyze how to make the right decisions, because these choices are those that bring us closer and closer to our goal. The first golden rule is to focus on what brings you closer to your goal. It really seems like a simple concept, but believe me that applying it is not as obvious as it seems. Often we are so absorbed by the environment that surrounds us that we do not realize that we are moving in the opposite direction from where we would like to go. Take a few minutes during the day to understand if you are actually working towards your goal or if you are swimming in the opposite direction. Once you've defined your goals, follow these steps that will help you make the right choices. First step, understand what you want and chase it. Your goal must be defined and clear. If you know the direction you are going, you will avoid getting lost. Reaching your goal must be your main thought. In fact, the problem of people without a goal is that they are undecided. They don't know where they are going in their life, and consequently, they won't get there. Important question: how do you find a goal? To find it, you need to analyze what the meaning of life is for you. For many people, it is happiness. So what makes you really happy? It sounds like a simple question, but the answer may be complex. Stop for a moment and really think about this question. If you have difficulty answering this question, at least start listing things that don't make you happy, and start moving in the opposite direction. Then start outlining your perfect life. What are the essential elements of a perfect life? Being surrounded by friends, playing sports, financial freedom, being healthy, having a family, whatever you want. Ask yourself who you would like to be surrounded by. Where would you live? Who would you like to live with? What are your passions? Think about all these elements, and if it helps you, write them down. But really, take your time to list all these aspects. At this point, it is time to optimize the process. Now, let's move on to the second element about making good choices, the risk element. Our decision must be rational, therefore we must evaluate the risk and learn how to manage it. We can help ourselves with a simple method to define the risk level of our decision. Whenever we make a choice, there will be two main elements to consider: the positive consequences and the negative consequences. For example, consider all the positive consequences that can happen at best. If all goes well, what can happen? In the same way, consider what your life would be like in the worst-case scenario, obviously in relation to a specific choice. Let me give you an example. You like someone, but so far you've been too shy and insecure to tell him or her. In the worst case scenario, what would happen if you declared your love? The person you like does not return your feelings, and you will continue to be single, exactly as you were at the start of this example. On the other hand, what is the best thing that could happen? The other person falls in love with you, you get married, and live a happy life together. Let's try the same thing for a business. You want to invest 10,000 into a business. The worst thing that could happen to you is you lose your investment. Obviously, creating a business includes many more aspects, but I used this scenario for a simple example. At best, your business will grow incredibly. You will achieve financial freedom, buy the house of your dreams, live in a city you love, have medical treatments, travel around the world, etc. But what's really great is that you achieved your goal, and then you are certainly happier than before. If you know where you want to go, and you know how to manage the risk, the choice for you would be really simple. Therefore, before making a decision, carefully evaluate all possible scenarios and their probability of occurrence. Evaluate if the best things that can happen have a much higher value than the worst things, but also remember to consider the probability of occurrence of both scenarios. The last step is, how do you minimize the risk? When making a decision, you must try to minimize the risk, but leaving ample opportunity for growth and development. For example, the risk of finding you with empty pockets at the end of the month decreases if you decide to start an online business while you already have an employee job. This way, you will be sure you already have a monthly income, and therefore you have minimized the risk of not having any money for food and bills. Of course, you always have freedom of choice, but try to minimize the risk of failure and increase the chances of success. If you quit your job and, unfortunately, your business doesn't make enough profit, you may find yourself in an unpleasant financial situation. I use the word unfortunately, but I don't really believe in bad luck when it comes to achieving your goals. If instead you keep your job and work on your business in your spare time, you may also use the incomes generated by your first job as a method to invest in your personal business or ideas. Once your business is profitable enough to allow you to live the life you want, you can decide whether to focus exclusively on that or also keep your current job. Obviously, there is no correct solution, and I am not encouraging you to keep or quit your job. I just want to give you a general overview regarding risk management. Before making any important decisions, you should analyze the situation and try to understand if there are possibilities to minimize the risk in order to increase your chances of success. Let's recap how to make important decisions in life. Remember that the small and big decisions we make affect our lives every day, and the situation you are in right now is nothing more than the sum of all the decisions you have made so far. If you want to change your life or reach a goal that you have not yet reached, you have to start making new decisions. Sometimes changing scares us, but staying in a situation that we don't like is much more tearing. Ask yourself if it's worth staying in a situation that isn't giving you what you want, or if you want to give yourself the chance to live a life that reflects your desire. Therefore, to make the right choices, we need to consider 3 basic steps. Set your goal based on what makes you happy or on the end result you want to achieve. Evaluate the risk of your decision. What can happen in the best case and in the worst case scenario? What is the probability that one scenario will occur rather than another? What is the risk I need to minimize? What strategies allow me to minimize the risk? How do I increase my chances of success? I have an extra tip for you. Many people ask for advice when they want to make a decision. This thing is definitely right. What's wrong is to ask anyone or the wrong people for advice. If you want useful and constructive advice, you must rely on competent resources. For example, it doesn't make sense to ask a doctor how I should build my house, because the doctor is specialized in something else, and he's not building houses all day long for years. For the same principle, you should not ask for financial advice from a person who has multiple debts, because he probably does not know how to manage money effectively. Therefore, get relevant advice from relevant resources. If you have a specific goal and someone else has already followed that path and has been successful, then he is the right person to ask. That person has already achieved the results you are aiming for. Therefore, it is a better option than someone who wants to tell you how to achieve something that he has not yet achieved. The best advice comes from those who have already achieved that goal.